What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to another Warframe video. So, just got the new Sobek Augment mod called Clip Delegation. This augment will give you a bunch of extra multi-shot and status chance if you meet the conditions that it does require to proc these things. So, we're going to get into it, why you might want to use this, why you might not want to use this, and we'll be comparing it with acid shells and all that good stuff. So let's get right into the video. Before we do, make sure to sub this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, tons of prep guides on the way, new build videos, discussion videos, and the like. You're in the right place for Warframe content. So that sub button and also the like button if you enjoyed these videos. Alright, so for Clip Delegation, let's go ahead and show what this does. And we're actually going to show the limitations of it too, because just because you read the mod doesn't actually show everything that's actually limited on this. So, for the Sobek, and the Kuva Sobek that just came out for that matter, on reload, next magazine has status chance and multi-shot increased by 15% per shot landed with current magazine. Maximum of 15 stacks. So what this does not tell you, punch through does not give you additional stacks of this. Multi-shot does not give you any stacks of this. You only get 15% per shot. So we shoot this enemy right here, and I'll look in the top right corner. There's a bunch of buffs, but you're not going to see the buff until I reload. I reload the gun now. You will see the 15% from Clip Delegation. Now, if we had punch through on here and we hit multiple enemies with one shot, it wouldn't change it. You only get 15% per shotgun shell, no matter what you do. Okay, so we get 3 kills there. It doesn't have to be a kill. You can shoot, if an enemy is tanky enough, you can shoot the same enemy multiple times for multiple stacks with this thing. But yeah, you want to get 15 stacks of this for the maximum of 225% multi-shot from all those stacks. And now that we've gotten everything, lined up properly, we have 225% multi-shot and status chance, to be fair, for this magazine. Now, if we just keep looping that over and over again, we will have that 225 constantly. Now, combined with the mods we have in this game, and some arcanes in this game, we have a total of 635% multi-shot with no Riven. So that's pretty nice for getting a bunch of extra pellets, a bunch of extra status chance with that augment. And it can do pretty good work in high-level missions if you just want to use a kind of generic full-auto shotgun. That's pretty much what this is. So let's go ahead and show these limitations in effect here, so I can just prove to you that there are some limitations here. Now, first off, I'm going to show you the build I was using right there. Now, this is with no Riven. And I know it says Hunter Munitions on here. I did have Hunter Munitions on here, but since this thing doesn't want you to shoot through your magazine pretty quickly, and my Riven normally has fire rate, I decided to take off Hunter Munitions for a fire rate mod instead. And funny enough, this thing can do enough damage at high levels to kill enemies in one hit anyway. So yeah, it's just more about getting that fire rate out there. You could proc Arcane Tempo on your frame for increased fire rate instead, but I just went with Vigilante Fervor here. Now, how do we get 635% multi-shot with no Riven? Well, you get 225 from Clip Delegation if you maximum stack it. You get 230 from Galvanized Hell if you get 4 kills. And the Arcane Shotgun Vendetta on shotgun kill within 5 meters get 180% more multi-shot. So there are more multi-shot mods you could run. You could technically get to 700% multi-shot if you ran Vigilante Armaments and a multi-shot Riven, I suppose. But that's definitely diminishing returns. It's already diminishing returns at this point. We have so much, but I don't want to take off a crit mod for another multi-shot mod or an electric mod for another multi-shot mod. Maybe if you're doing a viral build, you could do Nourish and not have any mods, and they could have even more multi-shot, but that's just kind of silly. So if you're not playing Ivara, you can definitely go with Vigilante Supplies in the Exilus slot. But you know what you should not do? Here's the limitation of this. Since you have to reload after a bunch of kills, the lock and load auto reload mod will ruin everything. I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. So that mod is going to reload while holstered. So we're going to fire off a shot. We holster the weapon. Look at that. Now the stacks are completely gone and the weapon is reloaded. Auto reload while holstered ruins this augment. You must reload a massive amount of magazine after a bunch of hits to actually get the full bonus. So do not use this. I would highly, highly, highly recommend not using lock and load with this. We get a bunch of hits, we swap, and you might have seen it for a brief moment. You see the Clip Delegation bonus for a brief moment in the top right corner when you do auto reload with this thing. But it goes away, eats your bonus. So do not use that, please. That goes for synth mods as well. If you have a synth mod in your companion, that will get rid of that as well. So. Alright, let's go over this augment with acid shells, and we'll get some Steel Path gameplay as well. So, here we are with Sobek Saren, and I think we're on Roar. Yeah, we're on Roar. So this thing can annihilate. Like, the Sobek with acid shells can annihilate. And I mean, it's not gonna benefit our Sobek acid shells build in any way. Before I had the mod Chilling Grasp in that slot just to get easy viral to kill stuff easier. But now that we've got this instead, I'm gonna show how Punch Through does not give you more hits, and also the acid shells explosion does not count as a hit for clip delegation either, sadly. So just kind of anti-fun if you ask me. But let's just go ahead and show it in the sim here. So yeah, this should, I mean, it's still the Kuva Sobek to be fair, but yeah, the normal Sobek is also not going to really get any benefit from this with acid shells. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and summon them. I'm going to fire off one bullet. Let's just make sure that one bullet kills everything. So we'll do the acid shells test first. Okay, so I killed everybody with acid shells. Let's reload now. 15% clip delegation, even though the acid shells killed the entire room. So that's already not good. Let's go ahead and let the abilities of Saren be deactivated here. And now we're going to do a punch-through kill here on multiple enemies with one shotgun shell. And you're still going to get 15%, sadly. So the things you get from this augment are going to be punch-through, not punch-through, I wish it was punch-through, multi-shot and status chance. So not exactly the most useful. So yeah, there's 2 enemies killed in one shotgun shell, you get 15%. Okay, so not exactly the best. It's very anti-synergistic with like things we usually mod for in the Sobek, such as Punch Through and Acid Shells. So if you're doing an Acid Shells build, I would not really recommend putting this on there. It can help you, kill a tankier enemy, but if you're doing the things that I recommend, you'll be killing that tanky enemy really quickly anyway. You're not going to need clip delegation giving you more status chance of multi-shot. Yeah, the only reason I can see it maybe being okay is if you want more multi-shot for more toxin procs. But yeah, not even Saren's 3 counts as an extra hit for this. It's just anti-fun, in my opinion. It's just very anti-fun. So you can just use it on the generic crit shotgun build on the Sobek if you want to. But to me, I'm just probably gonna probably just go back to my Riven there, because if you are someone that compulsively reloads like me, like fire off I fire off 2 shotgun shells, reload. This augment punishes that kind of playstyle. Get 2 kills, reload because I don't need to have a half-empty magazine. 30 multi-shot. If I was to wait until I have 10 enemies hit or 15 enemies hit, I'd get the full benefit, and it would not be it would be a good chunk of multi-shot, just not a tiny chunk like that. So I'm not a big fan of this one, to be honest, but it does technically give you a pretty good multi-shot and status chance buff. So I've currently got a 60% toxin Kuva Sobek. I could see a heat Kuva Sobek being pretty good with this augment. If you had a purely heat build, what you would do is you would use this clip delegation augment mod with your normal multi-shot mods and stuff like that. You would get a ton of hits, and you get 225% extra multi-shot, and you'd have that 635% multi-shot with a... Also, don't forget I'm talking about the status chance part. The status chance part's 225% status chance, too. On your pellets for your Kuva Sobek, that will be a lot of heat procs being dropped on these enemies. So that could maybe be good. Get a ton of heat procs with this thing, but to me, that's not worth getting a new Sobek to even test out, because at that point, just use the Boar and Karnan. Or at that point, just use the Phantasma even. The Phantasma is great with a heat proc build. So I think this one's kind of a dud. But thankfully, the new Galaxian Augment sounds impossible to mess up. The Galaxian Augment will be making it where enemies affected by cold have a chance to drop energy orbs. And it doesn't seem like there's any cooldown on there. So with the Galaxian Augment that will be available in a couple weeks, you'll be getting energy orbs constantly. And it also gives you increased crit damage too. This one is definitely too conditional in my opinion. And I think this one will fall to the wayside as far as Nightwave augments are concerned. This will be like the Tigris one. People will hardly remember even exists, unlike Sentient Surge, or even the new Galaxian one, where it's everybody wants to get that Galaxian augment. Everybody wants to get Sentient Surge, the Occucore, because they're really good. This one is forgettable at best, and yes, if you want to use a generic crit shotgun setup, there are other crit shotguns in this game you could use. And maybe I'll use the Kuva Sobek for level 10,000 again. I've done level 10,000 with the Kuva Sobek. I have a video of it on the channel. But it was just, it was a very boring weapon. I like things that are more exciting in this game. Acid Shells is exciting. This is anti-synergy with Acid Shells. And also, these are both competing for a mod slot in your build, because Acid Shells takes a mod slot, and so does Clip Delegation. So it's definitely not worth, grinding out the Nightwave just to get this augment. The Nightwave has other things that are probably worth, as far as worth grinding it out, that Sobek augment, or the Galaxian augment will probably be worth it, This one's just kind of like, you know, it's a thing you get along the way on the way to the Galaxian Augment. So let me know how you guys feel about this augment in the description or the comments down below. You know, I think I've made my point clear that I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's not bad. Just I don't really like it that much. So if they were to make it where you can get multiple, like, because also I didn't even mention this. If you hit 2 enemies with a shotgun shell, if they're like standing next to each other, it still doesn't count. Nothing makes this count twice. Maybe Zata's Whisper could work because that's an extra hit of damage, but Saren's 3 doesn't work. So yeah, I doubt Zata's works either. So kind of a bummer. But you know, if they were to change it where punch through, if they were to change it where multi-shot counts, like, okay, the amount of multi-shot you have scales how many hits you get for this, that could make it more reliable, but still doesn't change the fact that the Sobek is boring. And it should have been a Kuva Ignis instead, if you ask me. If we had an Ignis Augment and a Galaxian Augment competing with each other, like, what's the most hype one this season? That would have been a much better Nightwave season, in my opinion. But that didn't happen. We got a generic Kuva Sobek instead. So, see you guys next time. Appreciate your support and take it easy. Peace.